sir eh.
Backlight mo!
Saan? Patingin mo
Kita mo sinungaling oh! Ay, hinahabol ka oh!
Pakita mo sa akin.
Ay, may video oh! Eh, paano kung meron?
Sige, pakita mo sa akin.
Paano kaya kung meron?
Good morning everyone, MMDA back on the road. Right now they're doing their coordination at the Barangay Hall over there, and then they'll begin operating, capturing those driving without helmet, those without seatbelt, any illegal parking and any other violations that they might see. So the barangay have been leading the team around for a while now, and it is spotless. This is the first violation they found, someone obstructing the sidewalk. And I have to say, I'm so impressed with this barangay. All of the sidewalks clear, there's no vendors, there's no obstruction, there's nothing. These cars parked in the road, they have a one-side parking ordinance, and so far every single person has followed it and only parked on one side. Look at the sidewalks, they're perfect, there's not even leaves on the floor. Anyway, the owner of this one came out, so the enforcers are just giving him a ticket now. That'll be 1,000 peso illegal parking. Over here there's a member of the barangay and an MMDA enforcer talking to the security guards, because there was a complaint that they're not allowing people to park here when there's actually a one-side parking scheme in place. Their argument is, hey, it's in front of our property. But what they're explaining is, you don't own the road is owned by the government. If they implement a one-side parking scheme, it's first come, first serve, regardless of whatever property is here. And further down the road, they're issuing a ticket to this one, obstructing what should be the sidewalk. Actually, it's interesting because they have so much space inside. If they just put it forward, they wouldn't be ticketed right now. Okay, the driver came out for this one, parked on the sidewalk. There was a tricycle parked on the sidewalk over here. Unfortunately, when the enforcers tried to ticket, they pushed it inside and then closed the gate. So they're saying now, no, we want the driver to come out and give a license so he can be ticketed. The BPSO have stepped in now. They're speaking to the driver and ordering him to comply. So the driver came out and handed over a registration document and driver's license, although both were expired. All they can do is write out a ticket to that and hope that one day he tries to renew them, at which point he'll be forced to pay the ticket. And the team just stopped this motorcycle here, 3 people on, so that would be excess passenger. They did all have helmets though, so that's something. The team are now on 20th Avenue and they're looking at these vehicles parked here. There is no parking both sides, and just behind that is 3 jeepneys. From what I can see, all of the vehicles are empty, so maybe they're waiting here to pick up people later. But this is a major road, especially during rush hour, so they want to clear it for everyone going to work, going to school, and that's why they're ticketing each one. And on the other side, they're issuing a ticket to this one. He's brought a lot of tires here to be vulcanized, but the problem is obstructing the road while waiting. So they're issuing a ticket, illegal parking, and asking him to move the vehicle. And just before the intersection, they've stopped this bus for coding. And over here, they're issuing a ticket to this motorcycle rider, unfortunately passenger without helmet. And the team are now looking at this one, sitting with the hazard lights on. There's no driver in the car. The driver just came over now, so he'll get the cheaper ticket as long as he can give a license and move the vehicle immediately. They just chased down this motorcycle, back rider, no helmet, refused to stop for enforcers. They're smiling now, but it's not funny because when people run from enforcers and they have to chase them, it puts everyone in danger. Same with this one here, he had a back rider without helmet, refused to stop, sped away, made them chase him down. You'll see that's why the mobile is like this, big bike is like this. They had to chase them all the way down the road and force them to stop.
Backlight mo!
Saan? Patingin mo
Kita
sa
mo
akin.
sinungaling oh! Ay, hinahabol ka oh!
Pakita mo sa akin.
Ay, may video oh! Eh, paano kung meron?
Sige, pakita mo sa akin.
Paano kaya kung meron?
Hatakin yung lahat ng motor ko, patay ko.
Oh, sige, hatakin.
Sige, pakita nyo sa akin.
Lagi mo yan ha, hatakin ha!
Katunayan nyo.
Nagsisinungaling ka pa eh!
Hindi.
Huli ka na! Ayun, nakabidyo ka oh!
Kadulasan. Basta kita mo yung motor mo muna. Hindi, pakita nyo sa akin. Sige, takip mo muna yung motor mo.
And the team are now issuing a ticket to this vehicle. What's happened a couple of times today is they see a vehicle so far away sitting there in the road with his hazard lights on. When they get near to the vehicle, someone will open a gate and say, oh, he's going inside. And the team are now looking at this vehicle parked here. The driver has come out think they're going to ticket for illegal parking. Right now the team are writing out a ticket to this motorcycle parked on the sidewalk. Luckily the driver came out and gave a license because there's no plate on the bike. And over here they're issuing a ticket to this motorcycle parked on the sidewalk. It's not much of a sidewalk, it's only about 3 or 4 foot, but nonetheless it should be free for pedestrians to use. And over here they're issuing a ticket to this one. Although the driver's taking it inside now, originally it was parked on the road, and they were also told to take all of these inside their property because they're an obstruction in the road. The team do not have sidewalk clearing with them today, so they can only do traffic violations. And the team are now writing out a ticket to this bike. There is a plate, so they can leave it as unattended illegal parking, 2,000 peso. And over here they stopped this gentleman. Unfortunately there was a lady and a child on the bike, both of them without helmets, so that's excess passenger plus no helmet. The team are now looking at these two vehicles for obstructing the sidewalk. If you see the silver car in the background there, he's parallel parked. That's how he's managed to fit without obstructing the sidewalk. But these two here, obviously parked like that. And further down the road, they're issuing tickets to these two vehicles. Same thing, obstructing what should be the sidewalk. Actually, I'm surprised that the business owner doesn't warn people, because vehicles are being ticketed here all the time. What they could do is make modifications to their property so the cars can fit without having to obstruct the sidewalk. But ultimately, it's the responsibility of the driver to know you can never obstruct the sidewalk. So that's why they're being ticketed. And here it is from the other side. You see sidewalk until you get to this point, and then you see parked vehicles. And they're now issuing a ticket to this vehicle, completely obstructing the sidewalk. There is a driver, so he'll get the cheaper ticket. It's only 1,000 peso. They stopped this gentleman in red, driving his motorcycle without helmet. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a driver's license, expired registration, and well, they can't impound the bike. So what they're going to do is confiscate the license plate. And over here they're looking at this motorcycle parked on the sidewalk. The driver's trying to take the vehicle inside, but they're asking him to wait until he hands over a license so they can issue a ticket. And just next to that, they're issuing a ticket to this one. Same thing, parked on the sidewalk. If you're a pedestrian trying to pass through here, you'll be forced into the road. And if you don't look first, or if there's a car coming too fast, you might get hit. And across from those two bikes, the enforcer's now looking at this one parked on the sidewalk. Unfortunately, there's no plate on the back and no driver. And the team are now issuing tickets to these two vehicles parked here. This one, once the enforcer approached his window, he tried to drive away, but they're asking him for his license so they can issue a ticket. This one unattended, so it would be the more expensive ticket. This street actually has a one-side parking scheme, so it's okay to park on that side, but it's not okay to park on this side. The driver took 500 peso, tried to give it to the enforcer along with his license, and the enforcer warned him, you're being watched on camera. And these guys don't want to take money anyway, because if he gets caught taking money, that's his job gone. That's how long has he been in service? 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? And he's going to throw it away for 500 peso? It's just not worth it. And they just stopped this motorcycle rider here. This is a one-way street going that way. He came this way. And same thing with this driver over here. Unfortunately, he brought his motorcycle the wrong way down the street. And the team are now back at Barangay Kamuning. They're just doing their coordination, and then they'll be able to start apprehending people. How weird is this? Look at all the flies standing on this branch. So while they're doing the coordination, I'm walking around and I don't know what's going on here, and I don't know if you can see this on camera, but there's lots of things swimming in this water. I'm not even sure if they'll show up on camera, but there's thousands of them swimming around. So this is the first location that the barangay led the team to, and obviously they'll be issuing a ticket to this Everest, obstructing what should be the sidewalk, plus it's dipping into the road itself. And just along from that Everest, they're ticketing these two vans here, sitting in the road with their hazard lights turned on. And I also just saw a member of the team taking a photo of these two vehicles obstructing the sidewalk. They like to take photos because sometimes people rush out, move the car, and then say, hey, I wasn't parked where I shouldn't be. So take a photo first, then speak to them. The sidewalk in this area is very obvious because it's painted, plus you have the pink line So it's pretty easy to know if your vehicle is going to obstruct the sidewalk. What they could do is park parallel, and then there won't be any problem as long as they can fit on the private property. And the team are now looking at this red vehicle parked here on the sidewalk.
So what do I do now?
So, pupunta po kayo sa ano po sa Bayad City.
Anong bayad center?
Maray po yung Bayad City.
And then what happened?
This one, i-visit nyo to, tapos babayaran nyo po kung magkano.
And then what happens after that?
After that, wala. Mawala na yung
Oh,
record.
so now I can see your point now. That's now I can see the point.
Pasensya na po,
Okay, thank you. Now I can
Sorry.
see the point. Sige, thank you very much.
The team are now looking at this one parked on the sidewalk with hazards. The driver's come out, so he'll get the cheaper ticket as long as he moves the vehicle immediately. And over here, they're writing out a ticket to this one on the sidewalk. There's no driver, so that would be unattended illegal parking, 2,000 peso. Over there, you'll see a truck and a bunch of personnel. It says Quezon City Cleaning and Clearing Operations. It looks like they're clearing up all the rubble that was created when sidewalk obstructions were removed. You know, when the team destroy a little wall or something like that, and then they tell the barangay, hey, you need to take care of this, and then the barangay might say to the city, hey, you need to take care of this. Well, it looks like these are the people who clean that mess up. I just spoke to some people from nearby businesses. They told me one of the things that was removed are plant boxes. And actually that's a common complaint from pedestrians. Why are there plant boxes on a sidewalk when it's already quite narrow? So it looks like they've removed those. Now, of course, in an ideal world, what they'll also do is a planting program or a seedling program, something like that, to make sure there's enough plants elsewhere to make up for those that are removed. Just like they do with trees. When they have to remove a tree, they normally plant like another 100 or something like that. And right now the team are looking at this van. It hasn't fully consumed the sidewalk, but it is occupying quite a lot. The team tried to give a certain allowance. If just the bumper of the car is hanging over, they're probably not going to ticket you. But if you're consuming so much that a wheelchair couldn't get past anymore, that's a point where they're most likely going to issue a ticket because it's an obstruction. It could have an effect on pedestrians, those in wheelchairs, those on crutches, elderly people who need a much wider sidewalk so they don't fall down into the road. So I think they will ticket this one. And they're now issuing a ticket to this vehicle. Again, sidewalk cannot be passed. And in fact, you'll see a gentleman here, he's about to walk in the road. Well, he didn't get hit, but not everyone is that lucky. If you watch the news, if you read the stories every day, there are people getting hit, especially children, because they're not aware of the road. They don't understand the danger. They just go zoom, and then boom, they get hit by a passing vehicle. And over here, they're writing out a ticket to this one, parked on the sidewalk, as well as the motorcycle behind. And across the road, they're issuing a ticket to this one, parked on the sidewalk. And over here the team are looking at this motorcycle parked in the road. They'll be issuing a ticket. I did see a driver come out, so I think he'll be given the cheaper ticket as long as he can show a license and move it immediately. And a few houses down from that, they're issuing a ticket to this motorcycle parked in the road. They actually have a one-side parking scheme, so it's okay to park on that side, no problem, but this side it's not allowed. And of course, just like I mentioned earlier, if there's a one-side parking scheme, it's first come, first served. No one has exclusive rights because it's a public road. What you're not allowed to do is obstruct someone's private driveway. So that's why you'll see there's no car parked here. If there was a car parked here, it would be considered illegal parking, even if there's a one-side parking scheme. And over here, Cesar is issuing a ticket for obstructing the sidewalk with building materials. He told them, take it inside, keep it on the private property, don't store it here on the public sidewalk. And just across, they're issuing another ticket for a construction site obstructing the sidewalk with building materials. It is actually possible to apply for a special permit from the city which allows you to occupy the sidewalk, but I think you have to provide some kind of alternative secure pedestrian walkway, something like that. In this case, they only have a regular building permit, so they're issuing a ticket. And the team are now issuing a ticket to this motorcycle parked on the sidewalk. If you're wondering why the camera is so low, what I'm trying to do is avoid getting the man's face on camera because I just have to blur it later anyway, so I'm saving myself work by not including it. They're about to stop this gentleman, so they're just asking that driver now for his license. Oh, he had a helmet in the back. If he'd have worn that, he would have saved himself 1,500 peso. And they just stopped this gentleman here, also riding without helmet.